All right, in this video we're going to take a look at how the length property of an array can be used, and then I'm also going to show you how to sort an array so it's in alphabetical order. So what I'm going to do first is I'm going to create an array so we can use the properties and methods associated with the array object. So I'm going to set up an array of professors in the CIS department. We're going to just call them by their first names. So let me get them all in here. I'm going to have to think of these by how our offices are arranged. So bear with me while I type out names. All of us. So I've set up an array with the names in it, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop to write our names out of the array onto the page, and I'm going to use the length of the array to control the loop. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to set up a loop counter. And then I'm going to create my loop. So I'm going to say, go ahead and set up loop counter equal to 0, because remember when this array is created, Jason is in the 0 spot, I'm in the 1 spot, Dell's in the 2, Kevin the 3, Art the 4, Dennis the 5, and Joseph the 6. So we need to start our loop counter at 0 so we can access the person who is actually in that first spot. So then we are going to control the loop, and this is where we're going to use the property of our array. We're going to say whenever the loop counter is less than the length of our array, then go ahead and loop. But once it gets over that length, then it needs to stop. So we're going to say our loop counter is less than professors dot length. I have a typo. Didn't hit the shift key, so let's try that again. So this will run as long as our loop counter is less than the length of our array that we created, and then we will just increment our loop counter by 1. So go ahead and open up a curly brace for our loop. And what we're going to do inside our loop is we're going to go in and we're going to document.write. And I'm going to create the numbered list. I'm going to use the loop counter where we are currently in the loop. But remember, if I just document.write loop counter at this point, my numbered list is going to start with 0 because my array starts with 0, and that's where my loop counter is. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to document.write loop counter, and I'm going to add 1 to that value. So the loop counter will be 0, but it'll add the number 1, and so the first person in the list will look like they're in the number 1 slot. So then I'm going to concatenate on a period and a space. So it'll say the number 1 or number 2. There'll be a period following it and a space. And then I'm going to concatenate on and tell it to go into the professor's array and retrieve whatever professor is in the loop counter spot. Okay, then I'm going to go ahead and concatenate on an HTML BR tag so that each of these end up on their own line. I'm going to close my parentheses and put my semicolon in. So what we're doing here is we're using the property that's associated or automatically tied to the array object to control our loop. So I'm going to save that as print array .html. Go ahead and save, and I'm going to go not sure why it's not letting me save it. For some reason it won't let me save. So let's do a file save as array loop.html. And let's go over to our browser. Let's Control O and open up array loop. And as you see, it runs through the array. It prints the number of the index or the loop counter plus 1, and then it retrieves the thing in the current spot that the loop counter is on. Now, looping through arrays, you'll see this a lot of times. If you have a large array and you need to do something to it, a lot of times you'll set up a loop. You'll say go through the array and stop going through the array when you reach the end of it. And the way to determine that you're at the end of it is to just make sure that there is you don't go past the length of the array. So that's one thing right there. I'm going to go back to our same example, and I'm going to use one more method of an array that you might want to do. We're going to go ahead, and after this array is created, we're just going to go ahead and call the sort method of the array. And what that should do is put that in alphabetical order. Now there's a warning here. It's going to put this in alphabetical order or numerical order based on the Unicode. So a capital J would file before something with a lowercase j. So you need to be aware that maybe it's not going to sort exactly like you want it. If you want it to sort like we would normally expect it to, we would probably need to do a little bit more coding. So instead of Jason being first in the list, we should see Art, followed by Dell, followed by Dennis, and then on down the line. So let's do a save. Let's reload it, and there is one of our methods of the array object in action. So I'm going to go ahead and skip the one in the book that has the string method, the numbers method. It's pretty straightforward. I'm going to move on to the math object in our next video.